You know, I love to rock. I love to rock hard. I love hard rocking. I like to rock. I love to
rock. Oh yeah, I have something I want to open with also.
I have the Des Moines Register letters to the editor as well.
Ooh. Okay, well, I got this text message. Let's open with this text message. This is from 224-599-4115, if anyone wants to reach out to them. The text message says, "It's Nancy Pelosi. I need you to understand what just happened. Kevin McCarthy flipped the House with a razor-thin majority." I fucked it up. "He just personally headlined a massive fundraiser to ensure Democrats never take it back. I'm learning he raised a staggering $12 million in one single night. I have no choice but to take drastic action to fix this. I need 1,191 Democrats to confirm their Team Pelosi membership in the next few hours before midnight to help Democrats have an unprecedented fundraising haul of our own, outraise Republicans, and squash their hopes of holding on to our House. Can I count on you to confirm your membership with $15 before midnight? Thank you, Nancy." Welcome to Rock Hard Caucus.
Who's Nancy Pelosi? Is she like an actress or something?
Oh, there is a picture of her. Here. I can show you over Zoom. It won't translate to the listening audience, but she looks like that. That's her.
Oh, I know who Nancy Pelosi is. I was kidding.
Oh. Well, yeah, I got that same... Well, I get 100 different emails of the same ilk, but I unfortunately can't chip in because we have a different membership number. So this one, I don't know, actually, I'm not supposed to say my official Democratic Party ID. That's like a very real thing that they always put in these emails. But yeah, I don't think it works that way. So I'll chip in $15 on my own.
You could be doxxed if you share your official Democratic ID number. That voice you heard a moment ago was our friend Oliver Weilein, who's joining us tonight.
Howdy.
Welcome to the podcast, Oliver.
Good to be on. I was just about to say, in like 2015 or some shit, a couple of us went, it was in Cedar Rapids. Donald Trump was having one of his early, primary rallies and everything here in Iowa. And we like went and disrupted it or whatever and got roughhoused by all these fucking blithering idiots and thrown out by cops. But ever since I had to sign up for that event, for years, I've been getting emails from Trump, and it's always like, "Listen up, you stupid fucking idiot. Why haven't you donated?
Yeah.
Fuck you."
The guilt. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you were a patriot.
I don't think I ever unsubscribed, but I just haven't been getting those anymore. Because Natalie and I went to his Des Moines rally in 2021. And for a while, I was getting dozens of emails a day from that. But it's been a while since I've seen one.
They must have found you out somehow.
Yeah, I've been purged from the Donald Trump email list.
You're a Ron DeSantis double agent. They removed you.
I wanted to apologize to Oliver to start off. I remember this had to have been probably 2 years ago. Oliver and I were standing outside of the Emma Goldman Clinic in Iowa City, and Oliver said to me, "So when are you going to have me on your podcast?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that'd be great. We'll do that sometime." And then I just never asked him to do it. So, sorry it took 2 years.
Nah, it's cool, bro. It's fine.
And regular listeners may remember Oliver from his multiple voicemails giving us play-by-plays of football games that he was watching.
Yeah, I just always happened to be watching football, when I had the desire to call, and yeah, I didn't know what else to say, so I just talked about football.
If I recall, you're also rocking out to Shinedown.
It was Crossfade.
That's right, Crossfade.
Oh, god damn it!
It was cold by Crossfade.
Oh,
yeah.
You're so right.
Yeah.
And we've been in a big butt rock kick over here lately. in this household. In this household, we listen to butt rock.
Yeah, your partner Juliet is a butt rock scholar, I believe.
A reputable one at that. Mm-hmm.
Do you have, aside from Crossfade, do you have any favorite butt rock bands?
Bands, I think one of like the main pillars of butt rock has got to be Puddle of Mud.
Mm-hmm.
You got so many bangers from Puddle of Mud. There's some deep cuts.
Me.
Yeah, She Fucking Hates Me. That song rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And we got more like deep cuts that we like Fuel, the band Fuel. So good. So funny.
What was their song?
Yeah.
They had like one hit.
They had one hit and it was like Love Lives Bleeding in my hand.
Yeah.
In my
yes.
hand. Yeah.
I played that song with a cover band once.
Oh, fuck yeah.
We do have some sports news if you want to bring that up, Evan, while we've got Oliver. Like, usually I don't know anything about sports, so, every sports take is met with silence.
Well, I know the bare minimum, so bear with me.
Yeah, I'm not too invested in Hawkeye athletics these days, but just coming down the pipeline, the board of who the fuck knows, there is a lawsuit that the Iowa football program was discriminating against black players. That was just settled. It was like 4.2 million, and like half of that is going to come out of the state's coffers instead of the school's coffers.
We're paying for it. And we got our watchdog in office, Rob Sand, out here doing stuff that I actually agree with for once. And basically came out and said that if they're going to do this, then they need to fire Gary Barta, who's the athletic director for the University of Iowa, who has been there is a bunch of lawsuits. There was one it was the volleyball coach, I believe. This shows how well I'm up on this stuff. I vaguely recall something about that, but I can't really help you there.
Anyway, it was another gender sexual orientation discrimination lawsuit that they paid out, and now they're again paying out a bunch more. And Rob Sand is out here trying to protect our taxpayer money, and of course that's the only way he can frame it. But he's calling for Gary Barta to resign, but of course he got voted down on whatever board voted to approve this settlement. Voted down 2-1. So, and then Kirk Ferentz also released a statement saying that he wishes it went to court. Which is in my opinion, definitely him having his cake and eating it too, because if it went to court, then all of this embarrassing stuff is 100% going to come out, and his chances of actually getting fired are way higher if it went to court, because there's going to be a discovery process. There's going to be interviews with all these players and coaches, and it's definitely going to dig up a bunch of dirt. So, but now he can say, oh yeah, if we would have went to court, then we wouldn't have had to sell it at all because it's totally baseless or whatever, which is awfully convenient.
Damn, that's crazy. I mean, imagining Kirk Ferentz getting fired, I feel like pulling a Trump or whatever. I feel like he could go out, here on in the Ped Mall in Iowa City and shoot somebody, and everybody would still be no, he's totally fine. But
he's untouchable, it seems.
He does seem untouchable, even with his performance. I don't know. It's just kind of he's just kind of a folk hero around these parts or something. But I don't know. If there's one place in Iowa City, if there's one organization in Iowa City that doesn't have money, I think that it's the Iowa Hawkeyes football team. So I get what you're saying, but they're really trying to make ends meet over there, and I don't think that they can fork over this money.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I mean, we got to pay our fair share of the settlement because it was our fault too.
Yeah. I mean, and this is a slippery slope. If you're asking them to pay for being racist, then you might start having to ask them to, pay their players, that type of shit. not have literal slaves that you just destroy their bodies and you get all this money from. Slippery slope, guys.
Yeah, I'm sure Kirk Ferentz really retaliated against his neighbors the day that NCAA they changed the rules about players being able to make money off of their own merchandise. I'm sure Kirk Ferentz's neighbors had hell to pay that day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the biggest highlight from that is Rob Sand is cool now, and we have to formally apologize for everything, like all the making fun of him we've done. Full pardon for Rob Sand for calling for Gary Barta's removal. He's on our side now, everyone.
We agree with him now, and so hopefully he'll be able to put all the other stuff in the past and not retaliate against us for any things that we might have said.
Our invitation to come on the show, Rob. We are the same now. You and I, we agree on everything. All right. Well, yeah, we should talk about the real news now, not the sports news. That stuff is fake. The real stuff that's been going on recently, last week was what they call Funnel Week in the Iowa legislature. Were you familiar with the concept of the Funnel Week prior to this, Evan?
It's kind of silly, but yeah, they try to just get that shit funneled through.
Yeah.
This is like a beer bong thing?
They went to the University of Iowa and observed students using certain implements to consume beer. And they got
I was imagining that it was a hazing of new representatives.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have to go through Funnel Week in order to be reps, in the state legislature.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised at all.
I guess what it is that there's like these deadlines that bills have to make it through committees in order to actually be considered by the full legislative body. And the week of that deadline is what they call Funnel Week. And they really put the fun in Funnel Week this year, right? Is that a good joke?
Yeah. I'm having lots of fun.
They went like as hard as possible trying to pass a bunch of anti-LGBT, etc. laws, especially the T. They have gone very hard against trans Iowans in the past week, and it's shitty. I don't know what else to say about it. Like, it's awful.
It's hard to know what to say about it. It's not just Iowa. It's like Iowa, Oklahoma, Wyoming, I believe, Tennessee, especially, just like all it's, I literally, like, I've been trying to think about this for days, and I just can't pin down, like, when, like, this, like, it was like within the last year, like this, like, shift of just this, all of a sudden, oh, actually, we are mask offing it, and we fucking hate gay people and trans people, and we lump them together, and we think that none of them deserve, decency in our society, and we're gonna go full throttle with that, and it's insane. I don't know when or why the switch was made, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like a truce had happened like around, like, I don't know, 2015 or 16, and everyone just kind of laid off. I mean, there were always like hardcore Christian conservative people who never gave up that fight, but in terms of like mainstream politics, it seemed like that was kind of like out of bounds for a few years. Like, we'll pretty much just leave those people alone, even if we're not like really respectful of who they are and how they live their lives. We're not gonna like outlaw their existence. And now they're like, fuck it, we're outlawing their existence.
Obama years lulled a lot of people into really complacency, which definitely not counting myself out of that. But yeah, I mean, that's like a combination of like the religious shit, I think, and then also just the idea of, I don't know, this is like getting into like weird Marxism shit, but like the idea that like a nuclear family is important for the continuation of capitalism as we know it. And basically any contrary gender identity or anything like that is going to run against the interests of capitalism on some level. Just because like women, of course, can work. Now there's a demand for women in the workplace, but also demands for women to reproduce and also like instill values into their kids to make them into good workers in the future, sort of thing, which is like very, like I said, high level way to look at it. But I think that there is part of that. Like it's just the idea that, the idea of the nuclear family sort of replicates capitalism. Shit. Anyway.
Yeah. And it's got to perpetuate itself.
Yeah, definitely. And I also think, it's like whether conscious or not, I think people, or whether coordinated or not, I think people, the capitalist class know, like, they're just like, oh yeah, fight amongst yourself, stupid little monkeys, when, instead of actually work together to, fight for your rights in the workplace and that type of thing, actually what's making your life suck is trans people. That's why you can't make the bills, because they're spending all their money on pronouns, like it's I don't know. It seems so obvious looking into it. It's insane that people, they put so much time and energy into just such a small minority of people that are already so marginalized. And they think that if we just marginalize them more, then my life will suck less. It's crazy.
Yeah. I guess what I said about the economic part of it is it's part of it, but also it's just this weird, like, psychosexual shit among leaders and also, regular people who they find it very threatening to the idea of, like, society being able to continue as it has. And it, like, freaks them the fuck out. And then they, like, just go overboard in response to it.
Yeah, I think also, like, in my experience, people who question the gender binary or have just thought about this at all tend to be more open-minded about everything and more questioning the narrative in terms of, like, our entire economic system and society. So they become, like, target number one, because these are the dangerous radicals. Like, these are the people who really, really are undermining our way of life, which is why trans people are, like, the coolest people in general.
For sure. Yeah, it just seems like there's some sort of, like, cultural, like, critical mass point where this is, like, I don't know, who knows. But yeah, I think it's definitely interesting the way all of this legislation is coming through at the same time. I don't know if there's like ALEC. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that organization, but they're like the American Legislative. I can't remember the full acronym, but basically they write legislation, like boilerplate legislation that other states can adopt and push through. So it's basically just like a corporate think tank for introducing legislation that's, like, obviously, like, super fucking conservative, far right stuff.
I remember there being a very informative segment on John Oliver's Last Week Tonight about ALEC.
Well, I know for sure ALEC is definitely behind the school choice shit. Like, that's definitely another coordinated effort. But considering the fact that, like Oliver said, that there's all these other states doing similar stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some think tanks going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
What does ALEC stand for?
Well, shit, now we gotta look.
All right.
Is it the American League of Evil Karens?
It's Alec Baldwin's like that, first name. He's actually... it's basically just his character from 30 Rock basically wrote all of this legislation. American Legislative Exchange Council. So it's like they can exchange ideas in the free market by just writing the same bill and then passing it through, like, every state's legislature. It's really freedom promoting sort of thing.
Yeah. That's why it's so important that all the states have different governments and are all autonomous, so that they can just copy and paste all the same laws and end up being just 50 copies of the same thing anyway.
Yeah, we don't need no federal government. That's why
America fucking rocks.
We're just going to make sure all the states are the same.
This all makes sense. So I pulled up, there's a Des Moines Register article about Funnel Week, and they highlighted like a lot of the most important bills that made it through the funnel and a few that didn't. And since we're talking mostly about the LGBTQ topic, I pulled up the ones that they highlighted there. But there's also Keenan Crow of One Iowa also has a very good page keeping track of like the status of all of these introduced bills in the Iowa legislature. If you go to oneiowaAction.org and you look at the anti-LGBTQ bills tab, you can find like a full list of everything they've introduced and whether it has been killed or not yet. But here are the handful that were highlighted in the Des Moines Register. So these are the ones that are still in play. They made it through the funnels. They were approved by committees. They can be debated in the legislature going forward. First up, House Study Bill 214 and its counterpart Senate Study Bill 1197, which would ban gender-affirming care for minors. And the write-up here in the Register says, days before the funnel deadline, lawmakers in both chambers introduced a bill to prohibit Iowa doctors from providing transgender kids with puberty blockers, hormone therapy, or transition-related surgery on breasts or genitals. An amendment Thursday would allow doctors to refer patients to other states for care and would say that complying with the bill would not violate the Iowa Civil Rights Act. So this was
jeez.
This was put together by the Iowa Senate Health and Human Services Committee, which is chaired by Senator Jeff Edler, and in the House it was written up by the House Judiciary Committee, which is chaired by Representative Steve Holt. That guy
from Arrested Development.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of fucking evil shit, you know? And like you look at these people, like I looked through every one of these legislators and who were putting up these bills, who were signing on to them, and it was like the same handful of them, I think, for each of them. And not that it really matters, but I always think when it comes to this type of shit, like who is just kind of doing the grift. They got their finger on the pulse and knows that this is a hot button issue that they can get votes with, versus the people who are actually just insane bigots. You know, ultimately it doesn't matter, but
right.
It's just, you look at these people and you're like, damn, do all of you really fucking think this? Or are you just pandering to, you know, the current culture war?
Even then, it's like, yeah, maybe this is going to gain them votes in the short term, but like you just came off of like the worst midterm election showing of any like opposition party in like a century. So it's like,
nationally, yes.
Nationally, yes. Of course, I was going to say that as well. But like this stuff is not popular. Even I would say even in Iowa, but of course, not a lot of people are necessarily voting, and not a lot of people have a lot of great options to vote for in the first place. So it's hard to say what the reason why that would be. But yeah, this stuff is like, it's not going to be fucking popular. It's like, who knows what happens from here, but there's a lot of potential downsides to this, even from like a purely electoral like lens.
Even just, you know, hearing how just these bills even being talked about, even being presented, affects specifically trans kids all over the fucking country. You know, I mean, like there's a state representative in Montana, I can't remember her name, but she's, you know, in this very conservative state, and she's a trans representative. And a 14-year-old trans girl told her that these anti-trans bills were making her consider, you know, taking her own life, hurting herself. And it's just, the damage is done. The damage is done by just introducing these bills. It's just utterly cruel. It's you know, completely against the science. It's all just either virtue signaling or evil religious extremism, and it's just, you know, I don't understand how these people can sleep at night, can live with themselves. But you know, these people, you look at pictures of them and it's just like, there's nothing behind those fucking dead eyes, you know. especially that salmon, the salmon,
Sandy.
Sandy Salmon.
Sandy Salmon. Yeah, like that person is a fucking robot if I've ever seen one.
She's one of the worst, and
Yeah.
she's like so far that her bills for the most part didn't go anywhere. If you look at the One Iowa Action website, it lists like who introduced each of the bills, and like if you just Control F salmon, you'll see that a lot of those salmon did not make it to the spawning grounds. How's that?
That's pretty good. You got me. You got me.
Yeah, I mean, I remember one of the ones that she introduced that, you know, was dead on arrival was the one to, let me see if I can find it, prevents basically all data collection for statistical purposes within schools, including data on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity. It's just like, we're not even going to like acknowledge that these people exist, you know?
Yeah.
It's insane. I think I saw another one that was like, it was absolutely fucking insane. And I think this one was Jeff Shipley from Fairfield, our favorite.
He's who I was thinking of when I said about the hazing. Like, I can't imagine what kind of hazing rituals that guy is going to come up with.
Yeah.
He's who I thought of when you were talking about the people who are just grifters.
I think he is 100%. I think he is a grifter, but he introduced the legislation that says that you can't have a gender identity until you're 18, and on the same bill, and then states that cisgender people will win any civil rights dispute between a cisgender and transgender person. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, I haven't read these bills outright, but it's
Yeah, I didn't read the details of that one really either, but he has a history of just like putting out the most attention grabbing stuff, like intentionally flaming people and trying to make them upset,
and then cries about it when people like attack him for it.
Yeah, he sucks.
I've heard some very funny gossip about that guy from people I know in Fairfield. So I'm going to put a big legal stipulation of allegedly, like giant bold letters, allegedly, for, you know, the feds listening to this or whatever. Yeah. That this dude is constantly in Fairfield girls' DMs being fucking weird. And he does this shit where he likes to give girls money to like just be like, hey, like, here's some money, like, you want to hang out? And they're like, maybe, you know. And I talked to this one person who says that her friend, like, this is you know, a couple stages, you know, was like, yeah, sure, let's hang out, you know. And she would continuously hang out with this Jeff Shipley guy. And one time she was like, you know, I'm sick of getting money. I just want, it's like, I'm bored with this. Like, will you meet me here? And it was like a roller skating shop. And she was just like, will you buy me a pair of roller skates? And he was like, yeah, how much are they? And they were like fucking like $300 roller skates, you know, like the good ones. And then he was like, yeah, here's the money for one. And she was like, actually, you need to get some too, because we're supposed to skate together. And so he was like, okay. And then like bought like $600 worth of roller skates for this girl. And then they just like never rode them together. But that's a pattern that I've heard about Jeff Shipley, allegedly. And, you know, just anyways.
I am totally open to hearing more Jeff Shipley gossip. If any of our Fairfield listeners have more to say about that. I know he has a history of being like a stand-up comedian, so there's probably a lot of fun stuff there. Like, if you've ever seen him do stand-up. Also. Yeah, he has done that kind of thing. Yeah, if you've got any stories about our friend Jeff Shipley, send them our way. Love hearing about that guy.
Not to go out on a tangent about this dumbass when we're talking about the trans legislation, but I just couldn't help myself.
No, it's good. It's relevant because he has been one of the people like really putting himself out there on this subject and like claiming that denying people their gender identity is actually helping them because they're mentally ill, and we need to give them tough love and tell them God's truth that they are whatever biological, whatever that they were assigned at birth. He sucks. I can't say it enough.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
All these people fucking suck, and the Democrats, fuck them for being so incompetent and letting this happen. It's like just the ultimate losers, like the biggest losers I've ever known in my whole fucking life is the Iowa Democratic Party. And I just can't help but feel rage at them from refusing to try to do anything different, to not completely shit the bed during the midterms and just giving these Republicans free reign to just absolutely go ape shit over LGBTQ and trans, specifically trans people. It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just don't want to leave it unsaid. Fuck the Iowa Democrats too. They're not, their hands aren't clean in this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's name some more of the Republicans though. For example, this next bill that is still in play. This was drawn up by the House and Senate Education Committees, which are chaired by Representative Skylar Wheeler and Senator Ken Rosenboom, respectively. And these are bills that would prohibit teaching about gender identity at certain grade levels. It's House File 348, Senate File 496. Senate File 496 is like an overarching, big education reform bill that Governor Reynolds has been pushing. But specifically, what they're pointing at here is a stipulation that it would be illegal for teachers to talk about sexual orientation and gender identity to any students in kindergarten through 6th grade. So 6th graders cannot know that homosexuality exists.
Or heterosexuality.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
I think they're going to find out. It's just what the fuck is this shit's just so fucking stupid.
What was sex
hateful. Education
like for you guys at in elementary school?
They gave us deodorant. A girl put a tampon in my backpack and said, "These are for girls only." That's one of my biggest memories.
I remember, slideshows on the overhead projector of diagrams of penises and, diagrams of this is the labia and here's the vagina and the urethra, that type of shit. Just basic physiology and a lot of talk about STIs for sure.
Yeah.
Talked
about condoms for sure.
Sex is to be feared. If you fear it, then you will respect it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm still scared of sex. I don't know about y'all.
Did you
I
see
think it's weird?
So I guess at that age, kindergarten to 6th grade, it would have just been puberty talk. But yeah, later on, I did get the slideshow of the different venereal diseases to try to scare you.
I remember that day.
Yeah. I don't know if they do that anymore. I don't know how effective that really is, but they definitely discourage the idea of obviously kids having sex or and also we had the did you have the fake baby that you had to bring home
yeah, I did that in 7th grade, I think.
Yeah.
I had the bag of sugar you had to take care of.
Oh man.
Ooh, old school.
We got robot babies.
We had robot babies. Yep.
Yeah.
Damn.
And then according to our friend Chuck, they would give they had different programs so they could make the baby cry more, and they would give the baby that cries more to the kids that were more likely to be in trouble, sort of thing, which is fucked up. So Chuck had a baby that was screaming all the time.
Yeah, they gave him the bad one
because he's a bad kid. But
they were, I mean, he was most at risk of knocking up another child, so they had to warn him.
Yeah, they had to annoy him out of having sex.
Yeah, it worked really.
Yeah. I remember, we just watched, they rolled in the TVs and put in VHS tapes of or DVDs or whatever of fucking educational shit about puberty and sex and stuff like that. And I have this very vivid memory of it was in sixth grade. I remember it's sixth grade. Mrs. Bonwell in Lincoln Elementary in Cedar Falls, Iowa. There, it was like talking about sex and like how sex worked and everything, and like it had like a diagram of the penis, and then it became erect, and then it said something like, and then at the height of stimulation, the muscles contract, and it just like showed like an animated ejaculating penis, and like kids were like screaming at the TV, like stop! Like it was so fucking funny. I mean, I don't know, but that seemed normal to me. Like it's obviously kids in sixth grade are already fucking jacking off, so they want it.
Yeah,
good to know. Like, I don't know.
You should have the facts.
It's actually normal for your dick to do that. You're not sick, you know?
Yeah. And look, there are kids who are also gay and trans. So I think it would help them to be aware of those concepts in, fifth grade. It's not harming them. You're not going to trick them into becoming trans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Says you.
Also, good teachers, of which there are many, are going to teach this stuff regardless. I know there's a whole bunch of stuff about, penalties for if they do, but, good teachers are going to do that. I'm just thinking about, honestly, I think my sex education was actually pretty good, and, I just remember my teacher in middle school was, an ardent feminist, and you could, definitely tell, even at that age, and, she would have definitely taught around this law.
Yeah. That's something I've been thinking about with this, because Oliver brought up the absolute failures of the Iowa Democratic Party and how this is just going to keep happening because we can't really vote hard enough to stop these people. They've pretty much captured our state government. So we just kind of have to break the law a lot. That's the answer to this. It's just if this becomes law, you just have to
civil disobedience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is easy for me to say because I'm not, a public school teacher, but hats off to those who are going to break this law.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. And also it begs the question, how is this bill going to even be enforced? Is it just going to be crazy conservative parents who little Timmy comes home and says Mom, what's trans? And then they freak out and call the school board or whatever, or the police or however the fuck this works.
Yeah. And I mean, you can't stop the kids from telling each other about this stuff because they have older siblings. Yeah. Some of them are going to have cool parents and they're going to know this stuff and tell each other.
Yeah, exactly. I think it would be very hard to not only enforce, but to prove in a lot of cases.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely something where people are just going to have to take a stand and break the law. If you have a trans kid in your class, you're going to play dumb and you're not going to tell their parents unless they want you to, that's a law where it says, that's one of them that made it through funnel week. Correct.
It is. Yeah. That is also part of the big education bill, Senate File 496, and it's in House File 180. It makes it a legal requirement for school officials to report any students who have come out at school. They need to then report that to that student's parents. And we can thank Representative Skylar Wheeler for that one as well.
Dude, that dude... I looked at his image. That dude is he's a husk of a human being. If you look at that dude's eyes, Jesus Christ. But yeah, I mean, it's how are you going to prove that this teacher knew about it? If a teacher, again, this is easy for me to say because I'm not a public school teacher, but instantly in my mind, if I had a kid who came out as trans at school, I would just play dumb, if someone came and asked me about it, and I think teachers are going to have to get creative about, how they go about this because quite literally some children's lives are at stake when it comes to this stuff, and it's very serious that, these teachers need to take it seriously.
Yeah. If their parents don't know about it, they probably should not know about it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's probably a good reason.
I mean, it's just the reason they're not telling the parents because they're trying to indoctrinate the kids into being trans. They're not telling the parents because the parents are probably like these people passing legislation and they're gonna fucking be fucking crazy like they are. It's
They're going to harm their own children one way or another.
Yeah.
Have you never kept a secret from your parents? Like, come on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even if your parents are good and nice and not abusive, you don't tell them everything. It's normal for a kid to, have some stuff that they need to keep from their parents. Yeah. Even in much less serious circumstances.
I think Oliver said, like, all of this stuff is, like, basically just designed to keep people in the closet. Like the psychological effects of the stuff, like we've said, it's like such a stupid law that's like impossible to enforce, and like it's just going to like put that like seed of doubt in people's minds that they can't be open about their sexuality or gender.
To create an oppressive atmosphere regardless of how they can enforce it.
The stigma is still there for trans people, obviously, but it's even just a little bit of the stigma receding, even just a little bit of it. These people just can't fucking handle, that a good amount of people are actually just like, oh, you're trans, cool, and that's it.
Right.
People are like, why aren't you bullying this person? Why aren't you beating them up? That's just the world that they live in. I mean, it was made very evident, you had, I believe it was, who's the motherfucker with the tiny face? Charlie Kirk.
Oh, yeah.
He was talking about like a trans woman who is a surfer, and the surfing lady who got half eaten by a shark came out as transphobic, basically. Yes. I don't know if y'all have seen this.
Oh, yeah, I do recall that.
The shark
the soul lady. Surfer girl was talking with Charlie Kirk, I think. And he was just like, back, like, if society weren't fucked up, we would handle this back as they did in the 50s,
Yes, I remember seeing that.
And which is essentially just saying we're going to kill these people.
Lynching,
we're going to it's lynching, yeah. Shit like this just emboldens people like that. These people, I honestly think that people like Charlie Kirk or Michael Knowles or Candace Owens or all these fucking people have really set a lot of the tone when it comes to how you talk about these people. Matt Walsh too, Yep. They've set the tone about what's acceptable to say about these people, and legislators have their finger on that pulse, and they're like, yes, this is creating a lot of buzz. Let's get brownie points from these people who watch these shows, which in turn makes people like Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles being like, okay, I'm going to try openly advocating for genocide now. It's it's just a vicious cycle. Yeah.
There was also that guy at CPAC who said we need to eradicate transgenderism.
Yeah, that was Michael Knowles, I think his name is.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like you said about the Democrats not being good on these issues or not fighting back enough, it's like, again, the same thing where they accept the terms of the argument as the Republicans present it, sort of thing. And then there's all this shit like in the New York Times and stuff coming out that's basically like promoting liberal skepticism of trans issues. And it's like, again, like the argument is completely framed from the idea that it's like an aberration that needs to be like stopped. And it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely some people, some quote unquote left leaning people and liberals have not been good on their solidarity, their practices in solidarity with trans people. And I think conservatives kind of like sharks can smell that blood in the water.
Yeah.
And then they pounce on it because they know that there's not that united front, And then I think, it doesn't help that someone who was propped up by a lot of like, old school feminists like J.K. Rowling is like the TERF,
Yeah.
Like that's like her job now.
Yeah.
To be she's done with Harry Potter. Now she just makes royalties off that, but her full-time job now is to be a transphobe. And people are like, that's a feminist lady, a single mom, everybody, and so I think that really normalized transphobia a lot, and conservatives really gripped onto that. And yeah, it sucks ass.
Yeah, and they're presenting
It's wild
like
that's like her only thing now.
it's like the same thing where like people get like she got pushed back on Twitter, and then that became like just a feedback loop of her like defending herself, and like obviously she was a bigot to begin with, but like it's just like you just can't let it go because you're like constantly having to like fight these arguments on like the worst possible venue for an argument. It's not good.
Yeah, she strikes me as someone who just cannot take an L, and would like what's that fucker's name? Graham Lineham or something?
Yeah, Graham Lineham, the IT crowd guy.
Yeah,
he was a great TV writer at one point.
Yeah. Barring that one insanely crazy transphobic episode that, in hindsight, you're like, ugh, when you watch it.
That was like the beginnings of his descent. Was when people pushed back about that episode.
Interesting, but yeah, no, it became like his whole personality, and it like destroyed his life. Like he got divorced. Like like so many like organizations dropped him, and it's crazy how transphobia it's like this weird thing that just like gets a hold of people and makes it their entire personality. Yeah. It's an extremely strange phenomenon.
Yeah.
And then like I said with
they're just people. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, with the New York Times thing is like they're promoting like the most like possible edge cases where it's like 14-year-old on puberty blockers having sex reassignment surgery. Like they're choosing like the most not even absurd, I'm not going to say that, but they're choosing like the examples that are going to shock people the most, and then using that to say that it's like representative of like trans communities as a whole.
Right. That's why they're passing like that first bill we talked about, like banning surgeries for minors, when it's like that is almost not happening at all.
Mm-hmm. And if it is, it's like fucking months of like meetings and like, I don't know, man. Have you ever tried to access medical care in this country?
I mean, the hoops you already have to jump through, and the barriers that are already there. These people aren't necessarily the brightest that buy into this crap, so they think that, like a 10-year-old can just walk into, UIHC and just like be like, you know what, like I need bottom surgery, and they're like, come to the bottom surgery factory that we have right here, and
they got toddlers just walking in there like, I'm a girl, come on.
And then they throw them on the conveyor belt. It's just, I mean, it's so obviously not the case. It's hard for me to think many people actually believe it, rather than using these scary talking points just to try to vindicate their bigotry to other people or even to themselves.
Yeah, because if they're putting forward a bill like this, that must mean that it's a serious concern that we should all be aware of, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. They also brought out another bathroom bill, because I thought that that wasn't discussed enough like eight years ago or whatever. I thought we were over that one, but
like I'm surprised litter boxes wasn't fucking brought up, in this legislative session.
That's House Study Bill 208, Senate File 482. Those are Steve Holt was responsible for the House version of that one, Ken Rosenboom for the Senate one. They specified here that Senate File 482 goes further than your average bathroom bill. It would require public and non-public schools to allow only people of the same biological sex in restrooms and changing areas. The parents of a transgender student would need to provide written consent for them to use other accommodations, like a single occupancy bathroom. A citizen may complain to the Attorney General if the person believes a school is in violation. So they're encouraging people to snitch because a student used a single occupancy bathroom without express written permission.
A special accommodation that can be found in every home in the United States.
Dude, I don't know about y'all, but when I'm like at a gas station and there's like a men's and women's single stall restroom, like in the men, like I'm a man and like the men's one is like someone's pooping in there and I gotta poop, like I'm going in the women's bathroom,
like the Casey's by your house is like that.
Yes, exactly. It is like that. Quit doxing me, Justin. God.
Sorry.
That's fine. No, everybody knows where I live. it's insane. Also, like you can do like extensive digging and find just like virtually nothing on any problems that trans people have caused in a bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a made up problem. And, these people are just, drumming up wild made up scenarios that come out of their childish like nightmares about these people that they just don't understand.
Yeah.
It's
And anything bad that goes on in a bathroom is like already illegal. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is old news, but I'm sure everyone knows that a trans person is far, far more likely to be the victim of a crime than the perpetrator of a crime.
Yeah.
And these bathroom bills are trying to make you think the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, I think we would be remiss not to talk about the fact that trans people are so disproportionately targeted in violent crime, of all kinds, especially like Black trans women. It's like the statistics are insane about how disproportionately they are, victimized in that way.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, like it's just so foreign to me how someone can see these people that have already just been put through the fucking ringer of society and have had to endure so much just by being who they are. Like gender dysphoria is not, in of itself, it's not enjoyable.
Right.
It is very hard, to deal with. And people are just like, I think we should make it 20 times harder. It doesn't compute to me.
It's very cruel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's just cruelty. That's all it is. And like all throughout history, like when it came to like hysteria over Black men dating our young white girls, there's always the excuse of, well, they're coming after our children. It's the children are like the scapegoat, or not the scapegoat, but the children are this made up target to them, because everybody is like, yeah, we should protect children. Children are young and innocent. And so if you tell a normal person, like, this person's trying to be sexually weird in front of your kid, you're going to be like, yeah, that's bad,
Right.
And that's just like the talking point that they're going for, when it's actually just trans people trying to exist in an area.
It's easy to whip people into a frenzy when you make them believe that their children are under attack.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an old tactic.
Mm-hmm.
There was a silver lining to Funnel Week, and that is that a lot of bills did not make it through Funnel Week. For example, their attempts at re-banning gay marriage failed. Did not make it through Funnel Week. This is like... there was House File 508, but then there was also House Joint Resolution 8, which would have been an amendment to the state constitution defining marriage as the union between one male and one female. And this would like supersede federal law.
I think maybe the point of those bills was to be like, if it passes, then, we'll take it to the ultra conservative Supreme Court, and then will overturn gay marriage that way, but yeah, the wording in that bill is crazy. Like, not only the one biological male and one biological female, it's weird, but also it says in accordance with nature and nature's God.
Yeah. Enshrining that into law that we all have to, obey.
Like, that's fucking insane. Like,
there are many people who live in the state of Iowa who actually are not under the command of nature's God.
I like to think of nature as everything. So, like, like, all of this is natural because it's here. So,
yeah, for sure.
So it doesn't make much sense to me. But yeah. I feel like that's...
Chernobyl, totally natural.
100% natural. That's right.
Nature taking its course, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Humans are nature. Things humans do are natural.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just like red meat. I mean, that's like one where you're like, if they really are thinking about the electoral possibilities, then like it would be in their best interest to like shelve that one. But because I mean, that one got a lot of, people who might not have even been that invested in protecting trans people perked up some ears on that one. So yeah, it's ridiculous.
Because I think it's a conservative play too. They're just kind of like, oh yeah, we're all hating trans people. Cool. I'm going to use this to attack the entire queer community.
Yeah.
But I'm going to pretend I'm only doing it to trans people. And this was just kind of a mask off moment for that.
Yeah.
Which is why it's crazy that you have, like in the UK, like the LGB Alliance or whatever, like these like queer organizations that are trying to save face with conservatives and cede ground to them. Because they're like, no, we're the good ones.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Yeah, we're the good ones, and it's just like these people are still going to kill you if they get what they want. It's
I think they might just hate trans
people.
Like
you any better?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
that stuff you said about solidarity earlier, that's very important.
For sure, that's our number one principle on this podcast.
Yeah, like to me, it's a no-brainer that these people who just want to exist on this hell earth, like why, like just because a bunch of people are attacking them right now, like why would you not say anything? Why would you try to cede any ground to these freaks that are trying to go after them? It's
right. It's more of a reason,
opposite, actually.
Yeah, more of a reason to defend them than anything.
Mm-hmm. And so I don't know. It's either bigotry or cowardice for those people, and either way, it's fucked up. Yeah.
There is one bill that I think you guys will agree with me. I'm actually very upset that this one did not make it through Funnel Week. Iowans will not be able to purchase license plates depicting the Gadsden flag, a coiled rattlesnake above the words "Don't tread on me," after a bill to create a new custom license plate failed to pass a committee in the Iowa Senate. Senator Amy Sinclair tried to get us our Gadsden license plates, and the fucking legislature just did not take up the opportunity of a lifetime there.
Damn. Fucking feds.
I'm going to have to customize my regular license plate. Just going to draw on it with a marker. Make my own Gadsden license plate.
Make your own no step on snake flag. The squiggles.
Well, like I said earlier, anyone who's interested in following more closely what's going on with this stuff should check out the oneiowaAction.org website. Keenan Crow has put together an extensive list of all of the legislative attempts to attack all kinds of cool people.
There's also the school library thing, which is literally it says any school library books that are successfully challenged and removed from the shelves by one school district would be placed on a statewide list requiring parental approval to check them out, which is like obviously fucking insane.
Yeah, how do we have the resources for that?
Yeah. Isn't that like obviously like you can call them hypocrites all you want, doesn't fucking matter, but again, like completely at odds with like the local control over local things that conservatives love to talk about. But no, one school district bans a book, then all of them have to ban the book. It's like, what is this?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, do you guys want to listen to a couple voicemails?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Oliver, again, has been the caller before, and now he gets to field the calls for once.
Let's go.
Yeah, new experience for you. This first one here is from frequent caller Trab Nipper. So we get to hear from that family again.
Hell yeah.
Pizza Ranch, are you kidding me? They are demonic crazy! Not to mention the Jethros in Coralville is transgender. Tell you what, go on fire, Grant, and I'll do you a little favor. My wife, Chortney, and her best friend, David Staniel Wrestling House, own a San Francisco memorabilia shop in Dubuque where they live together in a beautiful German house. And they can hook you up with free cable car rides up the really steep hill that I fell down and smashed all of my bones into powder, which is why I can't even speak anymore these days. You know, you all have a lot to learn about business. If you learn more about business, you'd be happy to be conservatives. And also, Rob Sanders from the Democrat Party, you dum-dums. He hates Republicans.
Thank you, Trab. He offered us a deal there. I don't know if you caught that, Evan. I believe if we unfire his brother Grant, from the Rock Hard Cafe, his wife and her boyfriend will give us free cable car rides in Dubuque.
Free cable car rides.
What do you think?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah? I mean, yeah, I'm down.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to have to like put him on like cautionary probation, or, like he's going to be on like a warning period. So like,
Yeah.
if he acts up again, then, we're going to retract his employment offer. But yeah, I think we can do that.
Dubuque is one of the prettiest places in Iowa.
I was
Just
going to say
saying,
that
cable
too.
car ride would be pretty dope.
It is very beautiful.
All right, so Trav, if you want to let Grant know, he is back on the shift list at the Rock Hard Cafe, and he needs to be in tomorrow by 7. Let him know. Thank you. We got one more voicemail here. This is from Clara.
Fuck, that was loud. Hi, this is Clara. Big fan. Not really creative with this, but y'all are like make me kind of like hopeful for this state, even though they are potentially trying to make my existence illegal. Yeah. So thank you for being awesome and trans rights, and I'm not very creative with this, but I just recruited a furry in Watch Dogs 3. Alright, bye.
That's cool. I didn't know there were furries in Watch Dogs 3.
Damn.
I thought she was going to say she recruited a furry to listen to our show.
Yeah, furries are welcome if you want to
Furries
listen.
are welcome as well.
Why not?
Absolutely welcome. Or sorry, maybe I shouldn't say it's welcome because I'm just a guest on the show. I don't want to.
No,
No.
Yeah.
Solidarity includes furries.
I mean, I think Clara has a good point, about, being hopeful that there are good people in Iowa and that Iowa's actually worth, sticking around to fight, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not a trans person being attacked, so I don't judge what any of them do or where they need to go to be safe or whatever.
Right.
But
Right, yeah.
these fuckers are not going to get me to leave this state. Like, I will stay here until they shoot me in the back of the head. Nothing these dumbass, I will always be here. And I think that a lot of times people just kind of abandon red states and abandon the people who live there to just be surrounded by fuckheads and with no community, and I think it's worth trying to, fight the fight wherever you are and not let these people, intimidate you into leaving your home, Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. That's an important theme, I think, of our show, is that, it kind of sucks to live here sometimes, but we do live here.
Yeah. Well, I'm cynical about politics, but not cynical about human nature, I think most people want to do good and they don't want to hurt other people. And it's just, we have all of these conflicting material needs. Well, some people have more access to materials than others, but you know what I mean.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's just I think that there are trans people everywhere. There's oppressed people everywhere. There's workers everywhere who need to be organized and that type of thing. So it's I really hate it when people have the attitude of oh well, these people voted red, so they deserve whatever's happening.
Yeah, they deserve the floods and tornadoes and God's judgment.
Yeah, the people of East Palestine, they voted for Republicans, so it's their fault. I hate that shit.
Yeah,
it's
the train derailment was not a big deal at all, and also they deserved it.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to bring back the old tradition of Southern and Midwestern labor organizing, cop hating communists,
Yeah.
and that used to be a thing, and many places it still is, but we just need to bring that back a little bit.
Yeah. Well, thank you for calling, Clara, and I'm glad that our podcast can give you some hope, and just a reminder that there are people like you all over the state, and we all do care about each other the best we can, and we'll defend each other against all this horse shit that we've been talking about for an hour.
Yes, Iowa Trans Mutual Aid Fund.
Yes, good. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yep.
I wanted to make sure that we mentioned that.
Yep.
I just set up a recurring donation. I recommend that you do the same.
And if you out there listening would like to call us and say whatever you like, most people are usually nice to us, but it's fun when people are mean to us too. So if you want to yell at us, that'd be great. The number is 319-849-8733. We'd love to hear from you. So that about wraps things up, I think. Oliver, I know that you have at least 2 tours coming up, if you would like to let people know about that stuff.
Oh yeah. I play music around Iowa City, play in a couple bands. I play in kind of like a punky black metal band called Dryad. I play drums in that band, and we just put out an album called The Abyssal Plane. And we're doing a tour in April, like 7 days down south. I also do vocals and play guitar in kind of like a punky band, like a pop punk band. Good pop punk, I swear.
I love them. I think they're my favorite band in Iowa City right now.
We're later this month. We're doing kind of like 11 days out to the East Coast and back. So yeah, I don't know.
That band's called Death Kill Overdrive.
Oh yeah, that band's called Death Kill Overdrive. We were going after we wanted a band name that sounded like Five Finger Death Punch, but not Five Finger Death Punch. Right. So yeah, we came up with Death Kill Overdrive. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, go check out Oliver's bands whenever they're near you. He has good
approved
taste.
by Pitchfork, even.
Yeah, that's right. Dryad was in Pitchfork.
I saw that.
Yeah, that was really funny. That we had no idea that it was gonna happen until the person just emailed us and said, "Hey, I'm gonna like release a review of you," and we were just like, "Oh God, like they're gonna fucking destroy us." But they gave us like I don't know, like a 7.4 or something, which was like apparently if you're between 7 and 8 on Pitchfork, that means it's a really good album. So I was very honored.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. I'll also plug one more thing. We recently had a fundraiser show here in Iowa City and raised a good amount of money for the Atlanta Solidarity Fund.
Mm-hmm.
The Atlanta Solidarity Fund is an organization in Atlanta, obviously, and currently they're providing legal defense and bail funds and jail support for people that are being arrested for resisting the proposed police training center, one of the nation's largest police training centers that they're going to cut down at least 80 acres of forest to build. And it's self-described as an urban warfare training facility where they have they build like they propose like a mock city in there where they can practice urban warfare and everything. Yeah, Atlanta's got the biggest urban forest in the country, and they're trying to knock a bunch of it down. And there's been
in order to practice doing war on the citizenry.
Yeah, exactly. And no one, like, I think the last poll was like 70% of Atlanta, at least 70% of Atlanta residents are just like, absolutely the fuck not. This is so stupid. And, it's especially in the wake of 2020 and everything. And the protesters that are being arrested, they are all being blanket charged with domestic terrorism, amongst other things. And this is the same domestic terrorism law that was introduced after the Dylan Rahoof massacre in Georgia, which is now being used against people who were sitting in trees,
right.
who were hanging out in tree houses, just being like, nope, you can't cut down this tree. Apparently they're as bad as Dylan Rahoof in the eyes of these people. And so Atlanta Solidarity Fund, this movement's been very successful, but there's going to be a lot years probably of legal defense for these people. So any money that you can spare for that too, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I saw, people getting arrested today for that.
Yeah.
Yep. It's fucked up.
If you happen to be listening to this from the East Coast, my band Wombat's going to play a couple dates coming up here. March 16th at Red Room in Baltimore. I found out that Red Room is the name of a strip club in Baltimore, and we're not playing there. We're playing at the Red Room that's in a bookstore. So don't go to the other one.
Man.
March 16th in Baltimore.
Lame.
I think you just lost some audience members.
Yeah, I had to tell the truth. March 17th will be at Rhizome in Washington, D.C., and March 19th we will be at Studio 34 in Philadelphia. That is that's a yoga studio.
Oh,
hell yeah. That should be fun.
Yeah, it will. I've never been to any of those cities, so I'm looking forward to it.
DC sucks ass.
I've heard.
But go.
You had
I've
a really
never heard
bad
anything
experience
positive
there, right,
about DC.
Yeah, I'm forever salty at DC. I've been arrested there before. It sucked ass. When you're in DC, go to a restaurant called New Vegan, NU Vegan. It's like cafeteria style vegan food, and it's so fucking good. It's like black owned soul food. It's so good.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, I'll try to find that. And then closer to home, I'll be playing for Mission Creek on April 8th. My band BCJ's Peas. It's me and my friend Brian Pankrat. We'll be playing at Riverside Theater April 8th. And to close out the show, I wanted to play a Death Kill Overdrive song. Oliver, which song should I play?
I don't know. One you like.
Okay, well, let me look at the list.
I don't know. Like, there's the ska song that I wrote about my cat. There's the song about how looting is cool.
Yeah, I do like that one. What was the name of that song again?
$0.00.
Yeah, $0.00.
Yeah.
Let's do that one. I think it's thematically appropriate. It's
okay, yeah, word.
It's an approval of breaking the law. So yeah, enjoy this song, everybody, and go check out Death Kill Overdrive when they're on tour and buy their album and stuff. Like I said, probably my favorite band in Iowa City right now. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye, everybody.